What is going on, guys? It is Ty the Jeep Guy, and welcome to another episode of Judith the Jeep. This episode is going to be a little different. I've decided that I want to get better at talking to the camera. That's something I really struggle with, and I feel like the only way to do it is practice makes perfect. So in this video, it's going to be more of a vlog install style. There's a couple things that I want to get done today, and the first big one is fixing my E-fan override switch. Now, if you have a 97 to 01 Cherokee, you know that these kind of run notoriously hot on the trail and in traffic. And a really good way to fix that is to wire up an override switch for your electronic fan. This allows the fan to still operate if it detects the vehicle's overheating. However, it also allows you to hit that button, override that sensor, and it turns the fan on just like that. Now, I did this mod back in 2017 and it's super easy. However, as you can tell, there was a time period there where I just wanted to get stuff done, and it didn't matter if it was the right way or not. So I decided I would just run a wire to this wire here, and I'd allow the switch to handle the whole load. So enough procrastinating. I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. Now, I probably won't talk too much just because all the wires are already there. I've already got a power source on my little relay block over here I put in a while ago. Now, I'm no expert at wiring. Actually, there's a video out there somewhere from me on Facebook Live when I was testing my old compressor, and I may have shocked myself in the process. So I'm not great when it comes to wiring. However, there's enough information in YouTube videos out there. I think I should be able to get this figured out. So for all you guys that love doing wiring like me, let's go ahead and pop open a bottle of liquid courage and get started. Alright, so off camera, I already wired in the relay. I took care of my old beat up E-fan, wired up, or well, installed a new one, and now I'm going to go ahead and test it and make sure that it works. Alright, so now that my E-fan's all wired up properly, there's one other thing that I want to show you guys how to do. So again, if you have a 97 to 01 Cherokee, the E-fan mod or E-fan override, there's tons of videos all over the internet about it. I'm not going to take the time to make a video on that. However, on this one, I am going to take the time and spend the rest of this video showing you something that I learned from one of the forums, Cherokee forum. I am all about that page. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how to convert a window defrost switch to an actual two-position switch for like off-road lights and things like that. Myself, I'm going to be using it for a high idle switch, but this will work for any other purpose. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so we are here at Aggressive Auto Recovery. This is our local U-Pull-It junkyard. It's a wonderful 2 degrees, and we're going to go in there and search for that switch. Now, if you are in the Black Hills area and you need a junkyard to go to, this is the one. Every time I've been here, they have exactly what I need. They've got incredible prices, and they're just super cool to come to, still a local business. So, let's go find that switch. Alright guys, we're back to the garage with our window defrost switch, and for comparison, I've got a factory fog light switch. It's by Duralast, but just want to do a comparison on these two. For this actual mod, I'm going to be using the Duralast fog light switch just because I've got everything wired up like that already. I've got multiple fog light switches. This is just to show you guys that this is actually a two-way switch as well. So let's open this up and we'll compare the two. Alright, so I have a factory pigtail on there as well, but the biggest difference you're going to notice is with the fog light switch, you hit it, and it's going to stay down in the on position until you turn it off. Whereas the defrost switch, you push it, and it pops right back up. That's because this is triggering a timer and a relay to activate the defrost for 10 minutes. So all it has to do is send a very quick burst of power to that timed relay to turn it on. And I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. What we need is a flathead screwdriver. We're going to pop these two sides out. So we'll pop this side, and we'll get over here and we'll pop the other side out. Okay, so now we've got the face of the switch off. You can kind of see inside there.
we're going to go ahead and unplug that pigtail, and we're going to pop the back side of the switch off. Now, when you're doing that, you got to be careful because everything's going to kind of slide apart because it's all spring loaded. So I'll show you how to do that right now. Something I forgot to mention, you want to make sure you pull these light bulbs first. That's my bad. So let's get these bulbs pulled out. We'll start at the bottom. Alright, so you got that guy. And keep pressure on that bottom one. There we go. Alright, so we'll slowly slide that off. Boom, so now it's apart, and I'm going to show you what it does. So as you can see, this piece here is going to be the switch mechanism that connects everything when you hit that switch. So when you hit that switch, it pushes it up. There's a spring-loaded pin right there that pushes it right back down. Right? All we're going to do is remove that pin. Alright, so to pull it, now be careful, just remember where everything's at, like that pin back there. All we're going to and pull that guy out. So you can see, the spring came out with it. And now, it's just going to be this bottom one. So you can slide this back into place, maybe. Let's get this guy slid back on there. We'll put that back into place, and we're going to put the switch back together. So these two halves literally just click back in. That guy's there. We'll put our switches, or our lights back in. Doop. Alright. There we go. And the face can go back on, or if you're using a custom one like I will. So now, when you hit that switch, it stays into place. Just like the fog light switch. So if you do decide to use the defrost switch converted to 2-position switch, I'm going to go ahead and break down the harness here for you. So it's labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. Now, unfortunately, the GoPro can't zoom in and pick that up, mainly because the focus is better at far away things. So I'm going to keep it a little farther away. But, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So your 4 is going to be your backlighting, and 1 is going to be your ground. Number 2, which is going to be your blue with the white stripe, that is going to be your output. So that is going to be what you send to your relay to power it on. And then this light one here with the yellow stripe, that one is going to be your 12 volt in. So 12 volt in is number 3. Number 2 is your power out, and that's what you would run to your relay or whatever you plan to run that switch off of. So as soon as those are wired up, you'll be able to flip that switch, it'll be backlit, and your little indicator switch should light up as well. Now I will be running a fog lamp switch with the fog lamp pigtail. So I'm going to put up the image, what I'm going to be using to wire in a lighted indicator switch backlit to a relay that's going to ground it out. So right up here, I'm going to put that image right now, give you a couple seconds to look at it. That is how I'm going to be wiring everything up. So that is how you do that. It is super simple, and it can save you tons of money. This was like 10 bucks from my local U-Pulled at Aggressive Auto Salvage, and this, you know, was like 30, 40 bucks online. So you definitely save some money going this route. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer. If you plan to use this in like a 3 bezel or anything like that, you are going to have to trim this off, because as you can see, they're in different spots on the switches, just because the bezel is keyed, so you'll have to trim that off. But other than that, that is how you turn a window defrost switch into a fog light switch, and use a wiring harness for that as well.
Alright, so now that we got the switch all figured out, what I'm going to do is I am going to run a ground wire from pin A12 on one of my PCM plugs here. Run that into the cab and then behind the dash. The install process of this is really simple. Essentially, all you have to do high idle on a Cherokee, because they were equipped for like a police package and all that, is ground out pin A12, which I believe is going to be a gray wire right at the bottom here. I'm just going to track it down here, do a vampire splice, which I know is not the most efficient thing. However, I just need to ground it out. It's not like we're running a huge current through it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all hooked up, wired into the cab, and then we'll wire up our switch. I do want to make a disclaimer. Before you do any of this stuff, make sure you disconnect your battery. That way you don't fry your PCM.
Okay, GoPro is not known for their extreme focus at close range, so I'm going to try my best. But if you look, I've got my plug apart here. And we're looking for pin A12, which happens to be this guy right here. It's a light gray wire running out the back. I've already found it. All I'm going to do is get a vampire clip, splice it in there, and I'll run my ground wire all the way into the cap. As I've been doing some reading, I want to correct a statement that I said earlier. Earlier I said that I was just going to vampire slice into the gray wire coming off of pin A12. However, after doing some reading, I discovered that this pin, or this wire here, actually just dead ends over by the transmission. This is not hooked up to anything. So I'm going to go ahead and splice it and solder this wire in. Alright, so I got my ground wire spliced into pin A12. I'm going to go ahead and cover this up, plug it back in, and then I'm going to wire up the switch so we can test this out. So now the biggest reason you'd want to wire in something like this is, one, it came from the factory on police XJs. It's that way when they're sitting idle, they can run all the lights and everything. It bumps the RPM a little bit up. That way your alternator's putting out a little bit more juice. I wired that in so if I ever go to use my winch and I'm idling, I can hit that, raise the idle. Same with the compressor in the back. I wired this in so, again, a little bit more juice at idle. And something that was brought up to me in conversation with a buddy, when you get done with a hill climb, you park up at the top, you can hit that switch and it's going to high idle. That way your water pump's pushing a little bit more water. So overall, it was super easy. I put up the diagram several times that I used, and I'll make sure to drop it one last time. It's super easy if you're using a fog light switch, and on the window defrost switch, it's just flipping 2 wires around. So it's that simple. In the next video, I'm going to be pulling all of my door cards and replacing my window regulators and installing factory tweeters, as well as replacing the door cards with the limited door cards, just to give it a little bit more comfortable of a feeling. So I will catch you in the next video. Get on out there and keep on Jeeping on.
The thrill of the wild. One vehicle captures that feeling with the strength and agility to master most any terrain. Nothing stands in its way. Jeep, like nothing you've ever driven.
There's a feeling